For decades, traditional IRAs were seen as the safe, reliable path to retirement. Defer taxes now, pay them later, and enjoy the ride. But behind the scenes, something strange is happening. More and more savvy retirees are walking away from them, not because they failed, but because they quietly became a trap. These aren't people making wild moves. They're planners, engineers, teachers, couples who ran the numbers and saw the red flags no one talks about. Tax laws are changing. Hidden penalties are surfacing. And for the first time in years, traditional IRAs may be doing more harm than good. The most dangerous part? On the surface, everything still looks fine. You check your balance, see 6 or 7 figures, and assume you're set. But underneath, that money is laced with future taxes, forced withdrawals, and costly surprises you'll never see coming, until they hit all at once. So, why are smart retirees quietly moving away? And what do they know that most people don't? In this video, we're revealing 7 overlooked reasons traditional IRAs are being left behind and what you need to consider before your next move. It all starts with a simple but brutal truth. Every dollar in your traditional IRA isn't really yours. It's shared with the IRS. That pre-tax growth feels great while you're saving, but once you hit retirement, the tax bill comes due, and it doesn't care how the market's doing or how careful you've been. What many people don't realize is how fast that tax liability grows. You think you're deferring taxes, but you're also compounding a future burden. And the worst part? You don't control when you pay. The government does. Once you hit a certain age, currently 73, and moving to 75, for some, required minimum distributions, RMDs, kick in whether you need the money or not. That means you could be forced to pull out large sums, pushing you into a higher tax bracket and triggering a cascade of consequences across your Social Security, Medicare premiums, and even capital gains exposure. It's like a ticking time bomb hidden inside what was supposed to be a nest egg. And for smart retirees, that's not a gamble they're willing to take. They'd rather face taxes on their terms, not Uncle Sam's. Another reason traditional IRAs are falling out of favor? They make estate planning way more complicated than it needs to be. Most people assume their IRA will simply go to their kids or spouse when they pass, but they miss a critical shift that changed everything in 2020. It's called the Secure Act, and it quietly eliminated the stretch IRA for most non-spouse beneficiaries. What that means is simple but devastating. Your heirs now have just 10 years to empty that account and pay taxes on every dollar, not slowly, not spread out. Just a 10-year countdown that could push them into brutal tax brackets, especially if they're already earning a solid income. So instead of leaving a generous legacy, you could end up handing your kids a tax headache wrapped in red tape. Even worse, this fast-track distribution can throw off their financial plans, making them lose access to credits, get hit with Medicare surcharges, or miss out on college aid for their own kids. Smart retirees are seeing this and making the switch. They'd rather convert to Roth or spend down IRAs strategically, so their loved ones don't get blindsided by a tax mess they didn't create. Then there's the Medicare trap almost no one talks about until it's too late. Traditional IRAs can quietly sabotage your Medicare premiums, and most retirees don't see it coming. Here's how it works. When you start withdrawing from a traditional IRA, those distributions count as taxable income. And if that income crosses certain thresholds, it triggers something called IRMA, the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. Translation: your Medicare Part B and D premiums go up. Not a little, sometimes hundreds of dollars more per month, per person. And here's the kicker. It's not based on what you're spending now, but what you earned 2 years ago. So, if you take a large distribution in 2024, your premiums could spike in 2026, long after you've forgotten what caused it. This stealth penalty hits hardest when you least expect it, after a Roth conversion, a lump sum withdrawal, or even just your first RMD. And the worst part? It's not temporary. Once your income climbs, your premiums can stay elevated for years unless you actively lower them. That's why savvy retirees are moving to Roths or tax-efficient withdrawal strategies early. To dodge the hidden spike in healthcare costs that traditional IRAs quietly trigger. Traditional IRAs also carry a built-in time bomb most retirees don't fully grasp: required minimum distributions. Once you hit age 73, you must start pulling money out whether you need it or not. And that's where the problem begins. These forced withdrawals can push you into a higher tax bracket at the exact moment you thought life would get simpler in retirement. Imagine working your whole life, saving diligently, expecting low taxes once you stop earning, only to find your IRA turning against you. Each year, those RMDs grow larger, and so does your taxable income. That extra income doesn't just cost more in taxes. It can reduce your Social Security benefits, spike your Medicare premiums, and even knock you out of eligibility for certain financial programs or aid. And unlike a Roth IRA, there's no way to delay or skip them without facing a steep penalty. Miss an RMD? You could face a 25% fine on the amount you didn't withdraw. That's not a typo, 25%. It's no wonder many smart retirees are quietly converting their IRAs before they hit that age threshold, choosing to pay taxes on their terms, not the government's. Because the truth is, once RMDs kick in, flexibility vanishes, and the tax tail starts wagging your entire retirement plan. Then there's the stealth threat buried deep in your Social Security benefits, something many retirees don't connect to their traditional IRA at all. It's called the tax torpedo. Here's how it works. When you start taking IRA withdrawals and collecting Social Security, the combination can trigger a strange chain reaction in the tax code. Suddenly, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits become taxable. Not because you earn more from working, but because you took money out of your own retirement account. This isn't a rare glitch. It hits millions of seniors each year, especially those who planned well and saved a decent amount. The more you pull from your IRA, the higher your combined income, and the more of your Social Security gets taxed. It's a snowball effect that catches people off guard, especially in their early 70s. And it's not just the taxes, it's the compounding stress. You think you're pulling $20,000 from your IRA to enjoy retirement, but then realize you owe taxes on that money and your Social Security. That's why more financially savvy retirees are rethinking their withdrawal strategies or avoiding traditional IRAs altogether. Because once this torpedo hits, it doesn't just skim the surface. It rips straight through your income, reducing what you thought was safe and reliable. Another overlooked danger? The way traditional IRA withdrawals interact with Medicare premiums. Most people assume Medicare costs are fixed, but that's not even close to the truth. In reality, your premiums are based on something called IRMA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount. And your traditional IRA? It's a direct trigger. Here's the catch. When you withdraw from a traditional IRA, that income gets added to your modified adjusted gross income. If it crosses certain thresholds, even by just $1, your Medicare Part B and D premiums can skyrocket. We're talking hundreds, even thousands of dollars extra per year just because you took money from your own retirement account. And it's not a one-time hit. Once your income spikes, those higher premiums stick around for next year. That means a single unexpected withdrawal, maybe to cover a home repair or help a family member, could punish you twice, once through taxes and again through inflated healthcare costs. This is why many retirees are slowly shifting funds into Roth accounts. Roth withdrawals don't count toward your IRA income. They keep your Medicare costs predictable and under control. Because in retirement, surprise expenses are bad enough. Surprise premiums? That's just salt in the wound. And finally, there's the long-term trap no one wants to think about until it's too late. What happens to your IRA when your spouse passes away? Most couples plan for retirement together, but few prepare for what the IRS does to surviving spouses, and it's brutal. Here's what most people don't realize. The moment one spouse dies, the surviving partner is thrust into a new tax bracket. It's called the widow's penalty. Suddenly, instead of filing jointly, they're taxed as a single person, even though their income hasn't changed much. But here's the kicker. The required minimum distributions, RMDs, from that traditional IRA don't shrink just because you're now filing solo. So, what does that mean in real terms? It means higher taxes on the same money. more of your Social Security becomes taxable. Your Medicare premiums spike again, and you could end up losing thousands of dollars every single year during the years you need stability the most. It's a cruel twist, especially after the emotional toll of losing a partner. And it's why more proactive retirees are beginning to unwind their traditional IRAs before this moment arrives through Roth conversions, strategic withdrawals, or splitting assets between tax categories. Because in retirement, the real danger isn't what happens when you're thriving, it's what happens when you're left standing alone. So, if you've been holding on to that traditional IRA, like a financial safety net, thinking it'll carry you smoothly through retirement, think again. The truth is, what feels like the smart, stable option might be quietly setting traps for your future. Tax surprises, healthcare penalties, forced withdrawals, and brutal changes in tax filing status can all come crashing down when you least expect it. But here's the empowering part: you're not stuck. The retirees who are quietly moving away from traditional IRAs aren't doing it out of fear. They're doing it out of foresight. They've seen the long game. They've run the numbers. And they understand that avoiding pain in retirement often means acting before the pain ever arrives. So ask yourself, are you simply following the old script because that's what everyone else did? Or are you ready to rewrite your future with smarter tools, better strategies, and more control? Because at the end of the day, retirement isn't just about what you've saved. It's about how you protect it, use it, and pass it on without letting the system quietly bleed you dry.